Welcome to Goldman's Back 40 Podcast, a production of Goldman Equipment. We are your local John Deere dealer here in central and northern Louisiana. Give us a call or come by one of our 12 locations statewide and look us up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or on our website at www.goldmanequipment.com. Goldman Equipment, we're not just in your field, we're in your backyard. All right, welcome once again to Goldman's Back 40 Podcast. We are coming to you from West Monroe, Louisiana at our studio here, and I'm with Gary Bias once again. Gary, how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, Rodney. The sun's out, the birds are chirping. It's all good today.
Yes, indeed. It certainly is a beautiful day out there today, and we're going to continue our discussion today on getting ready for spring. Getting ready to assault this grass that keeps growing so fast this time of year. We're going to talk about belts and blades today, Gary. Looking forward to talking about these different parts that we offer. We offer a couple different brands for each part, and we're going to look at the differences between them and look at some recommendations for different applications for each part. So first off, we're going to talk about these belts. And we have Wayne Thurman with us today. He works here at Goldman with us, kind of an expert on these things. And we're going to let him talk about the different quality belts that we offer and the pricing difference and the different uses for each. So, Wayne, why don't you kick us off with the first belt we have here?
Okay. Rodney, the first one that we'll talk about is an aftermarket belt. It's made by A&I Products or offered by A&I Products. It's this is a deck belt, and as a lot of belts are made in the industry and automotive and other applications where belts are used, this is a polyester reinforced belt. The belt itself exhibits some rigidity when you try to move it. And as you know, on a lawnmower deck, belts have a lot of directional changes. They ride on idlers, they turn at high speeds, and they also have a tendency to go into a high stress mode when at startup of the deck, or if you're mowing and you hit a stump or a root or something like that. The other thing that these belts have to endure, if debris gets between the belt and a pulley, it can snap a belt just like that.
Absolutely.
The John Deere belt, on the other hand, has a Kevlar reinforcement that allows it to be more flexible. And as you can see, it's a lot more flexible than the polyester belt. The Kevlar additive makes it a lot stronger and a lot more sustainable in the environment that it has to be subjected to, where stress and high impact, like I say, at startup, or if you hit an obstacle, even high grass. You know, if you hit a real thick patch of grass, it'll cause a lot of stress. And the belt, these belts, they don't stretch, they break.
Right.
Well, the Kevlar helps this belt hold up a lot better. The price difference between the John Deere product and the aftermarket product typically runs 20 to 30%, the John Deere being the higher of the two. But for most applications, especially where a professional lawn care customer relies on uptime, the John Deere belt is the better value.
So under what applications could you get away with using the good belt as opposed to the best?
I would say in a homeowner application where you're not going to subject the mower to a lot of debris from limbs, gumballs, things like that. I've seen a lot of belts break when a gumball will get between the belt and the pulley, and it'll snap it. So if the yard's pretty clean, it's pretty smooth, and it's fairly well maintained, a homeowner application would be an area where the less expensive belt would probably be a better value.
Okay. Very good.
Why would you, Wayne? You know how hard it is to put one of these on?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's very difficult.
It's very difficult. And for, let's just say, additional $12 per this belt compared to this belt, knowing that I'm going to sit there and struggle for at least an hour trying to figure out, or more, to try to put it on. Why would you not buy this belt, and to make sure that I have every chance I don't have to repeat that same step of being aggravated about putting a belt on?
I agree with that logic. I would spend the extra money if it was mine. But once again, in cases where customers, they've got time on their hands and they're not concerned about that and they want to save a few bucks, the aftermarket belt in those applications where it's a reasonable fit will, could save them a little money. The professional landscape customers and lawn care customers, like I say, that's where the critical nature of uptime makes the John Deere belt a much better value.
Right. So I'd definitely recommend the Kevlar coated belt for high usage.
Absolutely.
And for LPOs, large property owners
Correct.
as well.
Yes. If you're working with a lot of acreage, you're running a commercial mower that you may not get to mow the thing, every 2 weeks or so, and you're going to have real thick patches of grass that you're going to have to cut through. And a lot of times you don't realize it until you're in the middle of it. So,
especially this time of year when clover's growing so fast, and you have those weeds coming up in big patches in your yard.
That's right. And I can speak from experience to the John Deere belt, and because my family owns a John Deere commercial mower, and they mow the farm with it, and they mow it about every 2 weeks. And this mower has 468 hours on it. And it's got the original belt still on it.
Wow.
So it's good product.
That's a good testament to that, to the quality of that belt. Absolutely.
Yep. So,
all right. Well, let's move on. There's another product we want to talk about, kind of in line with our belts, is these blades. And we've got 3 of them here.
The 2 larger blades of the 3 are for the same application. The one I'm holding is an aftermarket blade. And from the appearance, it's the same thickness. It's powder coated as opposed to raw steel on the John Deere. So it's very hard to tell the quality difference by sight. But you can hold the 2 blades and compare the difference in weight. This John Deere blade is significantly heavier, which means a couple of things. One, it's a better grade of steel. It's going to hold up longer. John Deere has a hardening process, as I understand it, that helps the blade edge stay sharp for a longer period of time. But also momentum, kinetic energy from the weight of the blade cutting through grass, the John Deere blade is going to do a better job.
Much cleaner cut.
Much cleaner cut. And these are mulch blades, by the way. You can see the stepped shape.
Explain how that works with the mulching capabilities of those blades.
With the John Deere baffle system on the mulch kit, this stepped area helps increase lift and keeps the debris as it's cut suspended longer so that it can cut it several more times before it drops to the ground. Once again, downtime, or in the case of a professional landscape or lawn care customer, uptime is critical to them. So downtime is very costly. So the time it takes to change these blades typically is 30 to 40 minutes if you've got the right equipment. And I would say that the majority of those people are going to choose the John Deere product over the aftermarket because it's a better value, because they'll stay in the field longer. The third blade that we're looking at here is also an aftermarket blade. A lot of people call it a gator blade, or it's called on the tag a predator blade. Now this is for more of a residential application. As you can see, it's quite a bit thinner than
you can really tell the difference.
That's right. Now these are good blades. I'm not saying they're not, but when you compare it with the John Deere, there is a quality difference. In this case, this blade is designed to cut debris on the leading edge, and then also on the serrated edge, so that debris is reduced once again through the cutting process, that when it's discharged, it's smaller. So it leaves less debris on the surface of the grass when it's cut. So that's the design of this blade. Once again, Uptime is critical to our professional guys. Homeowners, in a lot of cases, don't really worry as much about that because they're not under the, I guess, the stress of the pressure of getting to the yards before the rain comes again.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not as concerned about the variation between the quality of the two blades. So
Now, I imagine as far as usage time per blade, I imagine this one is way higher. The John Deere blade is way higher than these other two.
there's so many variables in blade longevity, and a lot has to do with the environment. A lot has to do with the type of ground you're cutting. If you're cutting a lot of sandy ground, a lot of them, they're all going to wear pretty quick. In ground where you're not dealing with that much sand, the blades are going to last longer, and the John Deere blade's going to last, I would say, 20 to 30% longer in either condition than the aftermarket blade.
Okay.
And like I say, one of the critical things, once again, is the weight of the blade and how it keeps its momentum to cut through the debris.
All right. So cost, let's talk about cost on these blades. What is the difference in cost between this one as opposed to the John Deere blade as opposed to the aftermarket commercial blade?
These particular blades are about 15%, but the range is 15 to 20 between the John Deere and the aftermarket. Like I say, we don't carry in stock a third level blade because we don't feel the quality is up to our standards.
Right.
So we limit it to these two. Now we can order the same as the belts we talked about earlier. We don't want to sell a customer a product that is not going to last.
Well, very good. Well, that explains a lot on these belts and blades differences. And I learned a lot. I hope you did too. And thank you for coming and joining us today.
Absolutely.
On Goldman's Back 40 podcast.
Where can you find us at, Rodney?
Oh, well, you can find us all over central and northern Louisiana. We have 12 locations statewide. And I tell you what, you can also find us on the website.
Yes, sir.
And it's www.goldmanequipment.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube. If you like the Goldman Back 40 podcast, please hit the like button and let us know what you think. Thank you, and God bless.